is failing, the oil is dry. The dragon and the bear just said goodbye. You struck at the neighbors, you lashed at the blue.
But the 47th Thunder is fucking real for you.
The compound is ashes, the bunker is cool.
The keys to the city have been bought and sold.
February 28th, the ledger is clear. The end of the drama, the end of the feast. The sweets are bitter, the fire was sweet. The 47 made the victory complete.
The eagle's shadow is a mile wide, so the coward looks for a place to hide. He can't reach the west, he can't reach the shore, so he bleeds the nations right next door. 7 flags burning in a desperate rage, the final act on a bloody stage. He's striking at brothers to prove he's a man before the 47th clears the sand.
He tells a soldier, don't fear the lead. There's a garden waiting for the holy dead. But he doesn't promise a woman grown. He promises a seed that's barely sown. He quotes the tidings of the 78th verse, a theological bribe, a spiritual curse, chasing the coward, the budding prize, with the hunger of a monster in his eyes.
Don't call them companions, don't hide the age. Read the literal link on the classical page. It's not full-breasted, that's a velvet lie to hide the horror from a western eye. You slaughtered the neighbors for a budding dream, but the 47th Thunder heard the scream. No more cowhide, no more 10-year-old toys, just the end of the mullahs and their holy boys. The 7 Nation strike was your final breath. Now you're face to face with the kinetic death. Operation Epic Fury, the hammer of lead for the child thief and the lies he spread.
Plural of Kaib, the protrusion of youth. The budding breast is the ugly truth. 10, 11, or 12 years old, a paradise of children, or so you're told. You envied the 47th, his life and his name, but you're just a predator in a religious game. shadow of the Kaaba before the black stone. The daughters of the desert sat upon a pagan throne. Allah, a loser, and the third one manna. The roots of the ritual, the ghost in the plot. The prophet was lonely, the Quraysh were cold. So he looked at the idols and he did as he was told. He bowed to the stones and he whispered the line, trying to make the pagan god something divine.
These are the exalted cranes, the prophet declared, while the pagans of Mecca stood silent instead. Intercession is hopeful, he cried to the sun, integrating the many into the one. But the angel came back with a lash and a sting, saying Satan put the words on the tongue of the king. A flippant excuse for a compromise made, the foundations of Mecca built in the shade. From the moon on the flag to the stone in the wall, the pagan foundations are starting to fall. The 47th thunder is peeling the pain, revealing the sinner inside of the saint. It was Satan's verse in the prophet's mouth, the wind of the north and the dust of the south. You bow to the goddesses to save your own head, then blame the devil for the words that you said. The 47th fire is the light in the dark, hitting the Kaaba and leaving a mark. The pagan roots are the truth of the tree, and the truth is the thing that's setting us free.
Oops, I forgot those verses weren't real. I was just trying to close a political deal. Satan jumped in and he whispered a song, and I'm infallible, so I couldn't be wrong. Just a man in a cave with a shadow on the wall, waiting for the 47th to end it all.
Prophet's mouth, the wind of the north and the dust of the south. No more tequila, no more deer. The end of the pagan empire is here. February 28th, the ledger is read. The goddesses are laughing. The prophet is sped.
The cranes have flown. The stone is just cold. The 47 is the only story told.
The black cloth is falling, a river of ink. The city is holding its breath on the brink. The supreme shadow has dissolved into gray, turned into ash by the 47th day. No more morality, no more the van, no more the shadow of a 6th century man. The bunker is empty, the server is dead. The crown of the mullah is a casing of lead. Unclean and the woman a slave, but the dog guarded the home while the mullah stayed brave in the bunker of pixels and a render of lies, with the hunger of Khyber in his dying eyes. He wanted the cowhive, the budding and young, with the taste of the poison still fresh on his tongue. But the girls are in the square with their hair in the wind. The era of the prophet has officially sinned. The neighbors are watching the smoke in the sky. The Seven Nations strike was a pathetic goodbye. You hit the schools while you reached for the gold, but the 47th story is the one being told. The veil is a bandage, we're ripping you away. The 47th thunder has started the day. No more Takia, no more the budding prize, just the kinetic truth under Persian skies. You envied the man, you envied the fame. Now the world only whispers your failure and shame. Operation Epic Fury, the ledger is closed. The monster of terror is finally exposed. Zainabi's smiling from the dust of the years. She sees your regime and she sees all your fears. You thought you were holy, you thought you were king, but you're just the prey with a soul-cutting sting. A flailing missile on your own school floor. The Zionists didn't do it, you're just rotting to the core. No more deals, no more bidding, no more pallets of cash, just the 47th and the sound of the crash. We're ripping away. The 47th thunder has started the day. The eagle is turned on the Myla Tower. The end of the mullah, the end of the power. February 28th, the fire was sweet. The liberation of Persia is finally complete. The dog is the friend, the woman is the life. The 47th ended the strife.
Hey yo Muhammad, look me in the eye through the 7th century mist. You're holding a perfect book with a logic-killing twist. You told the world the gospel was the light and the true path. Then you brought a different story and you brought the desert wrath. If the gospel is the word, then your revelation fails. It's a ship with no rudder and 1,000 broken sails. You're the ear that heard too much but understood too little, leaving your own perfect verse brittle in the middle.
How can you confirm a book that calls your prophecy a crime? You're a Christian that's failing for the very first time. You said Allah preserves the word that no man can change the ink. Then you said the gospel's altered just to keep your ship from sink. If it's altered, then Allah is weak and couldn't keep the light. If it's not, then you're a liar in the middle of the night. It's a checkmate in the desert, it's a self-inflicted scar. You're just a man with pagan roots reaching for a star.
You bow to the cranes, you bow to the stone, because you couldn't stand to face the Meccan sun alone. Aladdin, Al-Uzza, the daughters you embraced before the satanic verse was conveniently erased. The 47th thunder just leveled the Baghdad gate. The Ayatollah is crying, but it's 20 years too late. Statistically impossible, the noise inside the wire. The axis of resistance is a funeral pyre. From Babylon to Nineveh, the signal's coming through. The 47's hammer brought the ending just for you. Look at you
messenger with your cousins in a row, building a low trust empire where the minds can never grow. Marrying the child, marrying the kin, while the average IQ is drowning in the sin. Goats for a bride price, 400 years of fog, while you call the man's best friend a shaitan and a dog.
The dilemma is you, the dilemma is deep, and the 47 is waking up your sheep.
Just leveled the Baghdad gate. The Ayatollah's crying, but it's 20 years too late. The Criterion is broken, the year is finally deaf. The ledger of the Hijaz is marked with a F. February 28th, the fire was sweet. The dismantling of the mullah is finally
Truth and prove yourself a lie. The 47 owns the Iraqi sky.
He sat beneath the day palm and he wove a tangled net, a trap of blood and kin that hasn't finished closing yet. Marry your cousin, keep the wealth within the tent, a tribal cage where every drop of loyalty is spent. Muhammad led the way, he tied the knot of blood and bone to keep the power local and to keep the truth unknown. Keep the goats, keep the gold, keep the daughter in the line. A low trust civilization by a perfect man's design. Centuries of breeding in a tight and narrow well, creating a reality that science has to tell. 50% in the village, 60 in the sand, a double recessive shadow moving across the land. The IQ markers falling as the kinship rates arise, a foggy mental landscape under heavy desert skies. When the mind is bound by cousins and the spirits in a haze, you're trapped inside the circle of the 7th century maze. Pack your bags and take your kin to a nation across the sea. Claim a new citizenship, but bring the old decree. Ruin the host, drain the well, keep the tribal wall. Watching from the inside as the modern towers fall. It's the 400-year mistake, the debt you can't repay. The 47th thunder is blowing the dust away. No more Takia for the blood, no more the tribal greed. The world is waking up to the poison in the sea. From the bride price in the stable to the low trust street, the biological tragedy is finally complete.
Oh, she's such a lovely bride. She's my sister's only kid. And think of all the goats we'll save, just like the prophet did. Don't worry about the heart,
Look, I'm in the Medina, I'm dodging the ear, while the mullahs are whispering the end is near. Knuckles in the corner with the ruddy cheek glow, watching Muhammad in his ritual show. He's rocking Septia, the hairless tan high, dyed red with the acacia to cover the pride. But the 47 stepping in the ballistic weave with the kinetic truth that you wouldn't believe. The prophet is an ear, just a vessel for the tale, while the inbreeding rates make the civilization frail.
Check the David Wood play, check the gospel line. If the angel is holy, then your book ain't divine. You affirm the scripture just to call it a fake, a 400-year-old logical mistake. Keep marrying the cousins, keep the goats in the yard, while the 47 hits the ILGC hard. Low IQ, low trust, high tribal greed. The prophet sowed a very stunted seed.
Don't step on the truth, don't step on the gear. The satanic verse
Is the only thing we hear. All Latin owls are the cranes in the sky, revealing the roots of the Meccan line.
One for the Cynthia, two for the show. The 47's coming and the moolah's gotta go. Statistically impossible, the noise in the street. The liberation of the mind is finally complete. You bombed your own school just to cry for a deal, but the 47's justice is the only thing real. Oh, I'm just an ear, I believe what you say. Even when you marry 10-year-olds to start the day. Satan told me about the goddesses, he jumped on my tongue. But don't check the math while the bells are being rung. The render is crashing, the 5G is wide. There's nowhere for the 7th century to hide. The city, a 2 for the show. The 47th thunder made the Kaaba glow.
No more Takia, no more the ear. The end of the pagan empire is here.
February 28th, the ledger is red. The sandals are dust and the prophet is dead.
The hairs high, the unclean light, the 47 tones the sky.